slick back hair.
Hey, this is very nice,
This
actually.
is my Gino look that I had to go into work this morning. And, Frank, Gigi La Patat, Anthony Calcar, we're on hold. Yes, you're on hold. Frank, sorry, it was a freaking hectic day. Frank wanted to talk about wrestling Saturday. I've had a hectic week, Steve. Raffaele wanted to talk wrestling with me. We did a little Instagram live. We spoke for 4 hours. Then Cubani, Marco Donofrio was like, wait a minute. You got this Napoli fan? I want to talk wrestling too. So then we had to do a little thing, me and him yesterday. Frank messages me, and I'm sorry, Frank, you got me as soon as we got back from work, and it's been a hectic day. People don't care, Steve, that there's social distance. They just want to come into the store and buy a phone. But it's been a hectic day. How's everything at home there, Steve? How was the weekend in the pool?
Very nice. Very nice.
And
Mondays, guys, Mondays. This is therapy. It's therapy time for me. Let's
therapy
get it on.
time. Let's get it on. So, are you ready, Steve?
I'm always ready.
All right. So, let's get the show on the road, shall we? All right. Where are we over here? We're coming out, Steve. We've reopened the province.
Sort of.
We're coming out. And yes, happy Memorial Day to our fellow Canadians.
Canadians.
Americans. Cari amici sportivi. Yes, David, that fucking hair. Yes, it's slick back. Welcome back to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here where we take no breaks. Milan Weekly Podcast. Here where Ibra likes to get hurt before the season restarts, kind of Milan. And we still have no idea when we're restarting Milan. And when we're not professionals.
Nor do we pretend to be.
Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Hello to everybody joining us on live on the YouTube machine. Steve, I love the hair. I had to slick it back today because I can't present myself at work like this. I did not find a, underground garage person cutting hair, so I have to go to work like this. But it was a hectic day. It was a really. I know they were all sales, but people seem to. Respect the rules. And I told my boss, I'm like, look, people have used to this for 2 months, but I did have a couple of people that came in and says, yeah, I bought this cell phone from Taiwan and my cell phone service is with another company. But because I have TV service with you, can you help me figure out my phone? And I was just like, get the fuck out of here, right? But you're always going to have those special cases in these times. But other than that, you, Steve, are you still at home? Any news going back to the office, anything like that?
No, for us, it's status quo. They'll go back to the office when they're ready, but work from home is productive, so we're home for the indefinite amount of time.
I wanted to ask you something, Steve. I didn't have a chance to look at all these messages, whatever. So I looked at Marcello's messages yesterday, and I don't know if you noticed this. Excuse me, I call him Marcello Presidente. He sent us, a message. Here's this guy's name. And because he's going to be your guest, this is the reason why there's no presidential points. And I find that kind of interesting because, President, you haven't sent us presidential points in quite some time. But he kind of put it on. He threw our guest under the bus. Did he not, Steve?
Kind of. He left. We're going to remain. Our guest is going to be nameless until we decide to bring him in.
Yes, we decide.
And yes, he kind of said, you know what? Because of his stature and his physical and glorious power towards the podcast, he is exempt from all presidential points. He will not be the triple P. We will be giving the triple P questions to him.
And Presidente might think that maybe a couple of shows, David, I know I'm on the wrong side. It's because once we put the guest on, I'm the mediator. I'm in the middle. See, I was thinking. But Steve, he might think that because it's been a couple of weeks that we haven't made fun of him, does he think that we forgot about presidential points? We're going to put him in perspective pretty soon. But I don't know if you have something in mind right now, or we're just going to get into our guest, or you want to keep it for a special moment.
No, it's just it's self-explanatory. The president is feeling the stress, and
He's
you
feeling
see,
stressed.
yeah, you see the comments in the chat. People, intelligent people like Frank, Facebook Frank. He knows what's going on. He knows the
Mhm.
direction what's going on. It's tax season, Vinny. It's
It's true.
tax season, and the accountant of all accountants, the Lord Supreme himself, the Darth Vader of taxes, is il Presidente. Dun, 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 dun.
Did he
When
did he did he send his CV to Milan players see if he could do their taxes?
he's tried, he wants to do the Milan. He wants to do all of Milan's taxes. He wants to do the Elliott Fund taxes. He wants to do
Hmm.
so.
It's not gonna be easy, but Presidente, don't worry because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Milanismo worldwide, he's gonna have to do it because I'm back at work, and there might be a Presidente versus Presidente debate. They have some heat, as they would say in the wrestling world. So I'm not gonna say who it is, but we'll see what happens this week. But Steve, without further ado, let's bring him on right now, guys. And you told me I have this. A ticker to put on. Guys, we welcome from ESPN's, you know what, I'm even going to Tim Fontenot en français, which he
There you
actually
go.
told us that he's got some Quebec blood, Steve Tabarnak, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Tim, honestly, thank you so very much for coming on tonight. We really appreciate your live from your balcony. I love it, but we're probably going to screw up if we would have to give your exact job title. I know you do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So, Tim, please, this is where you put yourself over. Explain to us, to our Milan fans, who are you and what do you do exactly for ESPN?
Well, first off, thanks for having me, guys. I'm very happy to be here. Hope you guys are doing well. My job at ESPN, I'm basically a multimedia editor for our global video team. What I do a lot of video editing for mostly soccer videos. Do a lot of highlights. I help produce analysis segments, react to news, and in the last few months, right before this all started, I've been helping to produce a new show, a live digital show called Banter, hosted by Taylor Twellman. It's a lot of American soccer, a lot of MLS, U.S. national team, with a lot of big guests every week. So I help coordinate that, come up with ideas. So I'm pretty much all over the place when it comes to video and soccer and ESPN.
That's awesome. And before we get into the details, can you give us a time when you were starstruck? Anything like you got somebody live there. That one first moment that you were like looking for your words. You're pretending not to be a fanboy.
Oh man! So it was actually away from Bristol, Connecticut, where our headquarters is. I was lucky enough to go down on a trip to Orlando for the opening of their new home stadium. They were playing New York City FC to start the 2017 season. For me, it was awesome because I'm an Orlando City fan as well because of our boy Kaká. And sure enough, I'm at training the day before the match, and Kaká's walking off the pitch, and he recognized the man that I was with, so he came over, he shook his hand, said hi, and I was right there, so he said hi to me as well, shook my hand, said nice to see you. And then he just kept walking. I was just like, that's Kaká. Whoa. And that was a huge deal for me to be able to
That's awesome.
meet him like that. And then I actually got to meet him again a couple months later as a fan through work connections, which was pretty amazing.
That's awesome. Steve, I'll let you question Tim here what you want to know about his job.
What I want to know. Oh, I would love to intern, that's for sure.
Or maybe, Steve, we can maybe ask, like, how has your job changed since this COVID-19? So I'm assuming, a lot more content that's been coming up, online and all that stuff. Has your job gotten a bit harder, a bit more exciting, challenging since the COVID? If you could take us through any changes that you had to do.
Yeah, a little bit of all of that, actually. So the big thing for us is our loss of being able to produce highlights. That's obviously been the thing we've missed most, being able to react to matches. So we've really had to think outside the box, and we've been coming up with ideas as a group, and we're doing more work than we ever really did before. In a way, we've all kind of realized that, and it's thinking of ways to bring up things that happened in the past and come up with ideas to reflect on games. We've been doing a lot of on this day stuff, especially as we get closer to the end of seasons. Usually, we're reflecting on a lot of past titles. We've been getting a lot of interviews because players they got nothing else to do right now, so they're all just around, and our talent have really good connections. So Hercules Gomez, one of our talent there, he was able to hook up with the Gucci Onyewu. Someone that Milan fans may remember, sort of.
Oh, yeah, we remember. We remember.
From his free time. And the thing they would be most interested in, I'm sure he did talk about it with Herc, was the fight with Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
We saw that. We saw it on YouTube.
He talked about him. He talked about Ronaldinho and how he thought Ronaldinho kind of got a bad rap when he was in Italy, and that was really fun. So many other athletes we've had interviews with. Erling Haaland, who obviously is the star of the world right now. We've gotten some other big names. It's been a lot of work from everyone involved, from our video editors to our talent. Everyone's really eager to keep things churning out. We've really enjoyed doing different quizzes. We've had our talent kind of quiz on how much they actually know. So we had Gab Marcotti against Stuart Robson in a Serie A one, where I helped produce some of the questions for that. And unsurprisingly, Gab Marcotti walked away the winner from that exchange.
Top-notch guy. We've had him on, Steve, a year ago, give or take, and we were so like, what? He said yes to Milan Weekly podcast, and we were just like, he just really down-to-earth kind of guy, and I think you recognize we weren't gonna ask stupid questions or anything like that. Steve, any good memories, or what do you take from all of Tim's work, other than wanting an internship?
No, but you know what? I watch ESPN a lot, and I see what you guys are doing and thinking out of the box there, and I wish Serie A in Europe would think out of the box a bit, and they have by looking at games that have been played. Right, they're going through the national team stuff. They're the tripleta. That's all I've been watching, the stupid Inter shit for the past week and a half there. But they had Kaká 100 goals. They had Milan in terms of the two Champions Leagues that we won on the same day, a couple of years apart.
Right.
What has ESPN, and I know it's on ESPN Plus, but has that changed a little bit of the dynamic between Serie A and ESPN Plus? What can they do for Serie A to make them try to go to that next level?
So Serie A has become a really big property for us in the last couple of years with that ESPN Plus partnership, and obviously a game a week on TV here in the United States. And obviously one of the big things that helped us was the move of Cristiano Ronaldo to Juventus. So, I mean, he's always going to drive our traffic. He's one of the biggest players in the world. He's going to be the one everyone wants to watch, everyone wants to see. But we've really taken the initiative to focus on the big name players in Serie A, him and guys like Romelu Lukaku now, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic now that he's coming back, and really focusing the highlights that we feature on those guys. We do highlights for every game. We've tried to come up with a bunch of creative ways to package our Serie A highlights, make the most of our rights. For a while, I was putting up every goal from the weekend. I was doing a 13-minute or so YouTube video, putting every goal together. We've been doing a lot of top goals videos. We've done them for Ronaldo specifically, Paulo Dybala, a couple other guys throughout this stay-at-home process, and just trying to come up with as many ways as possible to keep Serie A relevant and on people's minds as everyone's talking about the Bundesliga and the Premier League coming back. Not a lot of people talking about the return of Serie A, but once that gets going, our jobs are going to get a lot busier because we are going to be all in on trying to produce the best content possible and get people watching Serie A again.
Speaking of that, you're talking about how everybody's kind of announced what they were going to do, and Steve is a big proponent of this, that, North America, it seems like it's a market that is not overlooked, but it doesn't seem that it make it as important as the other ones. And, we have proof, whether it be our listeners or viewers, we have so many fans, not just Milan, just Serie A fans in North America. Let me ask you, Tim, if you had full control of your job and the content that you put, is there something different that you would do? Now, obviously, we're not going to, take away from the Bundesliga or the Premiership. Hey, they're money makers like everybody else. But do you feel like us that maybe Serie A is not now? The quality of Serie A is not this quality of Serie A that we had, from 20 years ago. But if
Right.
you had the chance to do one thing differently to help, Gabriel Marcotti, I remember Steve telling me, he's like, thank you for at least bringing some light and discussing Serie A, because not a lot of people do it. But is there anything that you would do differently if you had the pencil and you could write that stuff? What would you do?
It's a really good question. It's really tough to think about on the spot.
On the spot. Sorry, that's
no,
the way
no,
we,
of course.
You think about it. You think we could come back to
No,
it at the end.
just the first thing that comes to mind would be, a lot of times you see the big clubs on a Saturday playing at 6:30 in the morning our time, and I think that doesn't do anything for helping grow the U.S. audience. And of course, we can talk about the Premier League with their 5 a.m. kickoffs for the West Coast and stuff like that. But I think that really, when you're trying to build the popularity of the league in the United States, it's not just about getting the stars there. It's about making it so that people can actually watch the games. And so if someone's not going to wake up at 6:30 to watch Milan or Inter or Juve, they're certainly not waking up at 3:30 on the West Coast. So I think that that's something that needs to be considered. And, we do what we can. I can't speak for the way games are broadcast or the way games are put on ESPN as opposed to ESPN Plus. That's a whole nother process. But, we are trying to make Serie A as accessible as possible with our rights deal, and we want to be a great partner with them. And my team is focused on producing as much Serie A content as possible.
It's a good answer, Steve. I don't know if you agree, especially you're a very big proponent, for this whole North America. And I know it's not a race, right? It's a marathon. But anything that you would add to this? How about you, Steve? What if you had the pencil?
For me, to be very honest, Joe, I would bring in. It's not like we talked about Gab Marcotti, right? And not because he's ESPN and in his podcast that he does there. The thing is that he's an advocate and he's a protector of Serie A. Serie A does a lot of stuff wrong. Let's face it, they're not perfect, right? And they need to learn from the other leagues like the Bundesliga and the EPL, right? But it's a different ball game, right? So like they've chosen their provider and their channel. It's fine. What I would like to see from Serie A is I would like to see them be a little bit more engaged with the North American, right? So besides ESPN Plus and besides what you guys do, and it's great in terms of giving exposure, there has to be some help from Serie A for ESPN as well, because you can't make miracles, right? Like you can't keep on shooting yourself in the foot and expecting people to say, "Oh, you know what? It's the Serie A. It was great a long time ago." They need to do their own. There's no magic pencil. Like there's no. But for me, like the ESPN Plus and the ESPN, I would like to see them go in the direction where there's an actual production behind it, right? There's a halftime show, there's a pregame show, there's a postgame show. It could be 30 minutes, it could be 45 minutes, it could be an hour, whatever you want. But that's important because that catches the casual fan once, twice, 3 times, right? And plus the game, you're catching him on 4 times, right? And whether he wakes up at 3:30 in the morning or he wakes up at 6:30 in the morning and catches the halftime show or and the other half and sticks around for the half, that's important, right? That's what I see from the EPL. That's what I see from the Bundesliga. They have that type of production where they'll keep you there for a long period of time, where in the end you're gonna be attracted, right? And again, the other side of the coin is it's not all on the people producing it. It's also on Serie A to come to ESPN and help them spread that game, right? So the EPL, they understood American Thanksgiving, and I bring up this example all the time. Hey, they brought the EPL trophy to the United States of America to celebrate Thanksgiving in America with those people, so that people are going to have a connection to the EPL, right? They're going to start wearing an Everton jersey. They're going to start wearing a Newcastle jersey. Serie A needs to do that same thing, right? And now with we talked with John Solano from Roma Press the other day, and there's the Freakin Group, another American group that wants to buy Roma off James Pallotta. There's Rocco Commisso, Kumbaro Rocco. Him, he's in
Commisso.
charge. Commisso.
Commisso. Thank you.
He has Fiorentina, but these guys here are businessmen, right? And they're gonna be in it, and they're gonna understand the American side. So
Right.
Commiso as well is in the cable business as well. You understand? So I'm pretty sure they need to feed off these people and get their ideas. And like, what are you doing in North America that could make us more attractive, right? And it has to be a collaborative effort, and it's going to be profitable for ESPN, it's going to be profitable for Serie A, and it's going to be profitable for the fans, right? And I'm not saying only, I'm being selfish and saying North America. We have people that write to us from Australia, and that's the other side of the pond,
Right.
So you're not going to make everybody happy, but hey, the English Premier League doesn't make everybody happy. The Bundesliga doesn't make everybody happy. But I'm kind of angry at the fact that we look at Asia as all, because there's so many people. It's fine that there's so many people, but Americans and North Americans are the ultimate consumers. They will buy the zip up.
Yeah.
They will
Yeah.
buy the jerseys. They will buy the $120 soccer shoes. They will suit up with Cristiano Ronaldo head to toe in his underwears, cologne, and socks. In Asia, I don't know. I don't know that market, but a lot of people have tried, and it's not the same type of impact. That's just my frustration with this whole thing of Serie A. And I wish, like, I would have just, what my pencil would be. I would like to sit with the FIGC and Serie A and just give them my spiel and say, you please just listen to me. I'm not the most intelligent person, but give me that 5 minutes.
People are asking, you see the comments there, like Gigi La Patat saying the NBC Sports on Saturday morning in DS is a big thing. How come Serie A doesn't do that? Jamie Jonah was like, why is the Bundesliga attractive compared to Serie A? And I'm gonna, I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this one, Tim, but is it all on marketing? Because I remember maybe in the last 5 years, people were trashing Serie A, like, oh, it's so boring, defensive. But we had scored the most goals of all the European leagues combined. And I found that side because the power of marketing, the power of social media. And let's take Milan for an example. Where was Milan's social media team last year, Steve? Non-existent. All of a sudden, we have an app. We have people interacting a bit more. We had the opportunity to, Steve, we spoke to Baresi and Massaro because Presidente reached out. But do you think we would have been able to do that like maybe 2 years ago? I don't think so, because they weren't in touch. Tim, do you agree that is it marketing? Is it the publicity? Because you might have a better I'm not saying Serie A is a better product than the Bundesliga and English League, but does it all come down to marketing and publicity?
I think at least part of it, and a lot of that stuff that you were saying there, especially, the stuff about the defensive league and still being viewed as a defensive league. I think reputations are very hard to change, and it takes a very long time to change them. I mean, you and I know that it's a exciting league with a lot of, with a lot of goals flying in. It's not the same, Catenaccio it used to be. And, but people around the world will still say, and for me, I'm a huge MLS fan, so it's still personal to me when everyone's like, oh, it's still a retirement league. It's always going to be a retirement league. That was the case a few years ago. It's not necessarily the case anymore, but it takes a long time to change those reputations. And I think, like you said, marketing plays a big part in it. I think that Serie A needs to do a much better job of presenting itself and getting itself out to the world. And, people in North America, we love our certain leagues. We all love Serie A. We love certain clubs, but we crave more soccer. And
Yeah.
I think the accessibility of soccer in the past few years has become incredible with the deals for the Premier League and with NBC in the US, the Bundesliga on Fox, and now that's going to move to ESPN next year. We're very excited about that, especially with the amount of Americans that are in that league, and big name Americans for us too. Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, now Giovanni Reina. That's all amazing for us and amazing for American fans.
And if
Hey,
I
correct me,
understand,
Tim.
yeah,
Tim,
sorry,
just
go ahead,
correct me
Steve.
if I'm wrong. Giovanni Reina, didn't he become the youngest American to start?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Yeah, so like you know, and that's a great thing. It's a great thing that you touched on. Like now, Americans are playing in the Bundesliga, and
Yep.
Americans have traditionally played in Serie A as
Alfonso
well,
Davies, Canadian as well. Hey,
Yeah,
there you go.
and as well,
Yeah.
And
exactly.
with
Yeah,
Alfonso Davies being a former MLS star, that's very close
that's
to home
huge.
for a lot of Americans here. Like, I'm a huge Alfonso Davies fan because of
Yeah.
that.
And now, like you said again, Americans playing in the Bundesliga, people will want to go watch these games. It's a trip. It's not your, you're not gonna go see. It's not a Boston Red Sox game or a Yankees game where it's a little trip within their country. You're going across a continent to another continent. In terms of tickets and the ability to pay to purchase tickets, if you want to purchase a Bundesliga or an EPL ticket, I have never tried it myself, but I have friends who have, and it's very easy. It helps that it's in English, right?
Yeah.
Of course, our lovely Serie A have to make it complicated. It's a Leonardo da Vinci's. It's a Da
Steve,
Vinci quest.
have you ever heard any of our friends going, "Oh yeah, I just went on the website. No,
No,
call this
Yeah,
guy,
very
Yeah.
try to
true.
get a contact through this guy here. Maybe he's going to be able to do this." And look, I went in 2011 and I wasn't able to get a ticket, whatever the case may be. That's 10 years ago, but it seems like we're at the same point. No, Steve? Have you ever heard one of our members go, "Oh yeah, I just logged on and I got a ticket"? Never.
No.
It's always seems to talk true Italian style. Talk to this guy. This guy's going to talk to this guy. He's going to say, I don't know, Steve. That
Yeah.
doesn't. No, but you bring up a great point. It shouldn't be that way.
No,
No, it shouldn't be that way, and that's one thing that they're gonna have to fix, and they're gonna have to fix fast, because again, the accessibility from home is gonna keep people home.
Yeah.
If you want to get people to the stadium, like example, us three. I'm not. I'm gonna talk for you, Tim. I don't know if you've ever been to the San Siro, but if we wanted to plan a trip, the three of us right now, we're lucky that we do this podcast and we have, and we reached out to our own people, our own contacts that can help us out, right? But not everybody puts themselves out there like the three of us, and do a podcast and get to meet people like Nima, who are closely tied to Milan, or Radio Rossonera, who are closely tied to Milan, who we can ask these questions to. A Milan fan is going to want to go to the game, and if let's say I want to come to Connecticut and I want to watch a game there, okay, I'm going to ask you, Tim, because you're there, right? But
right.
you can tell me, okay, go on this site and purchase the tickets. Someone in Italy can't tell you that because we don't
You
know which site
can't.
to go on.
Yeah. For
Steve,
the longest
sorry,
time-
Tim. In 2011, just to give an example, I had to send my driver's license to my uncle's, a copy of my passport, and then like your name is on the ticket, and then if you buy from a scalper, it's just, and it doesn't seem like it's changed. What are your feelings on all this?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah, no, sorry, Tim. What are your feelings about what we're talking about?
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I mean, I personally have never been to Europe. I've always wanted to go over. I wanted to go to the San Siro. I just remember all the time, going on the Milan website and seeing updates from the club that, oh, these tickets are now on sale at the bank or something like that. Like, it would seem like this whole process, and it would be a couple days before a match would be played. And I'm like, well, if I'm an American who wants to go over, like, what's that process? Like, I never really learned how that was. So if I ever do need to go to a game, I'm going to have to hit you guys up and be like, hey, what the heck do I do? I'm going to have to, find people on Twitter who can explain to me what needs to be done. I've only seen them play in person 3 times, and they were all preseason friendlies here in the US. Extremely easy to get those tickets. Obviously, I think sometimes, I always thought that it was kind of annoying that I had to, when I went to go see them play Real Madrid at Yankee Stadium, I also had to get tickets to the Chelsea PSG game that was there a couple of weeks before. And I was like, it shouldn't be that hard to be able to go see my club. And now I think about having to go to a game at the San Siro and the complexities that come with that. It's absurd.
It shouldn't be this hard. And it's like, just an example, we have a great friend of ours, Svanko from Sweden, and great guy. And, a couple of months back, just before this COVID started, he was just like, I sell some t-shirts on the side, and I like to come up with like some sort of thing that whatever t-shirts I sell, whatever profit, I want you and Steve, I want to pay for you and Steve to come all the way over here. And, I found, like, I want to told Steve, we're so humbled about, this stranger, right, to other than us on social media. But then I came to think, I'm like, okay, so he wants to do that, but then what? How are we going to get these tickets? And it's completely sad. And we can talk about this forever, how Serie A, guys, let's put it this way. A league that comes out with an anti-racism campaign showing pictures of fucking monkeys. No, I'm sorry. Yep. We have a long way to go, a very long way to go, because I didn't have a problem with that publicity. You know what I had a problem with? Who the fuck was that guy that saw that and go, I'm gonna prove that. Let's go. So yeah, Steve, do you agree? We have a very long way to go before we get into back. Forget we have a long way to go back to the level that we were in, like, in the 90s, but to be marketable to a worldwide audience, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way to go. And also you touched on something, Tim, and I would like to pick your brain on this. You said you saw Milan play live 3 times, and the 3 times were club friendlies, and we know how the club friendlies go. The thing that hurts me the most is that this league, will go for the money, and will go for, and I get that, but you're missing a complete continent, 2 continents of being able to play something, even if it's the Supercoppa. I had the pleasure of going to New York and seeing Milan play in a competitive match, the first time I've ever seen them play against Juve in a giant stadium. That was a ruckus atmosphere. That was, let's get ready to go. This is an actual football/soccer game. It's playing for something. You had to explain to people what they were playing for, but we were playing for something, right? So how can we change their mentality about playing more meaningful games on this side of the pond?
I think that's a really good question. I mean, it's another one that is going to take a lot of brains being picked. It's easy for us to look at the location of the last few Supercopas and stuff like that, and it's very clearly the money. Especially going to the Middle East and taking the money and playing those games.
But if you're gonna go do that and take the money, don't come out and complain that you're not as popular worldwide. Exactly. You want to take the money, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't talk to me about growing your brand across North America.
No,
you're not telling me.
But that's the thing that I want to. Again, that's my 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna take this cup game and you're gonna go to the Middle East. You're gonna get X amount. That X amount is a one-shot deal.
Exactly.
You're gonna take these teams and you're gonna bring them to North America. You're gonna get Y amount, but the Y amount is going to stretch you so long, and it's gonna have such a residual ripple effect to all the fans that are going to be able to attend this game. Fathers like myself would be able to bring my son and said, wow, I saw Milan win this cup. And it continues and it continues, and the ripple effect, and oh my God, I saw this player. Oh my God, I can't believe I saw Ricardo Montolivo, the GOAT of all GOATs. Or again, I saw Zlatan in LA. Now I'm seeing Zlatan at Milan. It's like, guys, it doesn't take a brain surgeon. It cannot be that they're giving Serie A so much money that they cannot understand that if they just take a little bit less of the pie right now, they'll have a bakery of pies in the end.
What do you think, Tim, would be the, let's say, most plausible game that they could do? Would you say the Super Cup instead of going to China or going to... Let's be honest here. Other than the Supercoppa Italiana, what other maybe game would you like? The ICC, it's entertaining. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed watching those preseason games, but they ain't gonna sell out a $50,000-$60,000 stadium. Do you think a Supercoppa maybe might be able to do the trick? Now you would have to have a Supercoppa with, I don't know, a Juve, a Milan, a Napoli, le sette signorine. What do you think about that?
Exactly that. I think either a Supercoppa or the Coppa Italia final itself, which I know would be a very tough thing to do. But if you get a Milan Juventus, like Steve, you said you saw Giant Stadium at MetLife now, right at the Meadowlands,
Yeah.
that place would fill up with massive Milan fans, massive Juventus fans, because there may not be as many Milan fans growing up now, but for all of us, I mean, that would be our Super Bowl over here. Like that
would Steve, you remember when Marcello, I don't know what year it was, he got informed to bring the Supercoppa here in Montreal. And I believe he had said, crunching numbers, because that's what Presidente does. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he said at 40,000 tickets, it would be like a break-even kind of thing, selling 40,000 tickets. So it could be as well, like we're talking this way here, guys, but it could be a lot of the financials, the exchange, the Canadian money, this and that. But I like the idea of a Coppa Italia final, maybe a Super Coppa. Steve, I don't know, do you have any idea if there's any kind of games?
For me, it would be the Coppa Italia final. There's nothing else you can do. You cannot take home games. Like I know La Liga wanted to do it. They wanted to bring a home game to Miami. I get it. You're bringing Messi over to Miami there, but you're taking away a home game from certain fans, and you're giving it to leave the league where it is. Yeah. But these things like Coppa Italia, every year Coppa Italia is at Roma. It's at the Olimpico. The Olimpico is a garbage dump of a stadium. Let's face it. No, it's
that's true, Steve. You're right.
I'm not even.
It's like the Olympic Stadium, Steve. It's exactly the same.
It's like our Olympic Stadium. It was built for the Olympics. It was not built for soccer. So you're not getting the best experience of the Coppa Italia, and we struggle with the Coppa Italia because, in the end, it's the local tournament of the league, right? So it is a cup that you win. It's part of the 3 cups that you need to win if you want to complete a treble. So yes, it does become important. If you take that cup and maybe once every 2 or 3 years, make it a special event, bring it here to the United States, bring it to Australia another time, the Middle East another time. What's the big deal? Yeah. Keep it in Rome another time. You're going to see other stadiums and get a different experience.
Yeah, and you'll get fans in the stadium who then become committed to a club, committed to seeing Italian football more and more, and it's going to be accessible in their country. Why wouldn't they want to follow it?
Makes sense. Even Frank's saying that the sad thing is Lega Calcio and the FIGC only look at short-term gain. Exactly. Maybe it's time to, Steve, I get reminded from Roberto Baggio. He got hired after 2010 in the national team. What happened 6 months later? He left on his own because he saw that his ideas of what he wanted to do, they didn't see it. Maybe it's time for get rid of all these old guys or just bring in somebody, because if we continue like this, right, would it be Milan? Look at Milan where we were 15, 20 years ago as an international brand, and now it's like this team doesn't get by. It's kind of sad, right? But guys, we're already 37 minutes in. We're just talking about this kind of stuff. Tim, we're going to keep you on, and I want to ask you about a couple of questions. I'm going to start, Steve, with Sabrina's, because she starts it off in the most unholy of anniversaries, she says. Who do you think is at fault for the disaster in Istanbul? Steve, let's start with you. Who is at fault for that 2005? What is at fault? How's that even better?
What is at fault? It's the soccer gods, to be very honest with you. You can replay that game another 100 times, and I've said it here before on the podcast. That was 60 some odd minutes of exceptional football, and from Milan. And then, guys, it's bad luck after bad luck, right? One goal. That's we're gonna talk about the penalty shot. We're gonna talk about Dida wasn't at his best. Guys, we're not in the finals if it's not for Dida. You cannot put the blame. No, some people looked at Ancelotti and the subs. Are you gonna start nitpicking at subs? Subs are not what's going to change that outcome of that game, right? That game was in the stars for Milan to lose, guys. In the end, and watching Shevchenko on Sky the other day, just talking about, on Instagram, talking with Galliani. Imagine Sky Instagram live, Shevchenko and Galliani.
Galliani has Instagram.
I don't know if it wasn't his account, but it was him. And just talking about that penalty shot, and he's like,
And thank you, Jamie, for saying Gerard. There was a dive on the penalty. I'm totally with that. But in the end, with this, we still let three past us. And anyways, go ahead,
exactly.
sir.
The
Yeah.
thing is that he's just talking about that penalty shot. You understand? Like, what did you want to have it back? There's nothing for him to have back, right? And he said it. He's like, that day was just not our day. But what makes me so happy about that, and again, hindsight, of course, is 2020, is that you're able to get back to the finals against that exact same team and beat them again.
Do you agree, Tim, to say that in 2005 the better team won? Excuse me, the better team lost, and in 2007 the better team lost once again.
I think
Because
that's fair.
Liverpool was better in 2007,
Yeah.
Gordon. Not?
Ma
So-
get out here, ma per favor.
Steve, they were better in
Ma
2007.
please, please,
That
they
team
were
that
better.
midfield in
These
the
are things.
next
These
seven
are things. These are things to make them feel good, Vinny.
Yeah.
Let's make the
I'm
Liverpool
not trying
guys
to make
feel
them feel
better.
better.
I'm not saying for no, but these are things that people say to make them feel better. Let them feel better. Yeah,
Was Milan a
Liverpool,
favorite in 2007? Yes or no, Steve? No, they were not. In
Milan is a
2005,
favorite
they
all
were
the
favorite.
time.
All right, Tim, this is
When
how we do this.
Milan is favorite all the time.
Uh,
When they're in the cup finals, Milan is favorite all the time. Bring up the lineup of both teams, and you're gonna see.
We'll check the what do you call it, the betting lines. But
Yeah.
Tim, is there anybody to be blamed specifically for 2005?
No, and I have to say that was the very infancy of my Milan fandom was right around the time of Istanbul. So that's one of my earliest painful memories, and it's hard to remember the game as it was. But I've gone back, a student of history, studied, know all about the game. I've seen a lot of highlights, seen a lot of torture, and funny enough, we actually had Jaap Stam on the ESPN FC show that airs on ESPN Plus today. We put the full interview out on YouTube as well, and he was asked about that game because he was asked to compare being in that game compared to winning with United against Bayern Munich in '99, that famous victory.
Yeah.
And he was talking about just the pain, the anger, the disbelief of that day, and how it just clearly was not their day. He was like, that happens in football. You can have a 3-0 lead, you could have the best team, and that's probably, you can make a case that's the best team never to win the Champions League. I mean,
100%.
that
That
lineup
is the
they put
best
out
team
was-
that's
yeah,
never
it
won the
was.
Champions League.
that
was,
lineup that they put out was
And
ridiculous.
Tim, I don't know if it's your beard scratching. We get a bit of background noise from.
Sorry.
You got the beautiful beard like Steve over there. Me, it just can't grow. People, guys are saying like, we should never talk about 2005. No, we need to talk about 2005 because it's part of our history. And I'm gonna segue in to another question here from our one of our fellow admins in the he's a junior admin. Steve, he's still an intern. He's not that we're getting paid, but Jan is still an intern. We're gonna call him an intern.
He's making it up the ranks.
He's making it up the ranks, but he was saying, would you rather, because he saw somebody tweet this out, right? So would you rather blow a 3-goal lead in the Champions League final only to win that title 2 years later, or become the joke of all jokes and lose 7 finals but win the Champions League when it's all at all-time lowest? I think he saw Juventino saying that for him, losing 7 Champions League finals is not as bad as losing that 2005. And
I tell him to Vakaga, because one of those finals was against Milan. That's why.
Right.
That's why. So it's even worse. So he likes
Yeah.
losing against Milan. The tweet, you see, like these little kids with no hair on their face, behind their phones and behind their keyboards. You know what, guys? Get in front of a computer, talk about your feelings, like Vinny, myself, and Tim do, and you're gonna be able to talk about things like in Istanbul. You're gonna be able to talk about losing 7 Champions Leagues. We have 7 Champions League trophies in beautiful Casa Milan. You don't get anything for losing 7 Champions Leagues. You get a shitty medal that the players throw in the crowd. That's all you get. So you tell him to take his tweet and his phone that his mommy or daddy bought him and go do some research on exactly who he's talking about before they send out tweets. They just want a reaction. This is
But
just
that's
a
what it-
reaction.
Yeah.
They just and we are reacting, are we not? So in the end, did the stroll get to us, Tim? Would you rather? What would you rather? Obviously, you would rather the not losing 7 Champions League finals in a row.
Exactly. Look, I feel like, especially with a lot of new age Juventus fans, as I think of them,
I like that new age. I like that. I like that.
yeah,
Trademark that. Trade it.
Yes,
Trademark
I
it.
will. When when a club like Milan, or you can look over in England with Manchester United, Liverpool until the last couple of years, when they start to fall and the new teams rise, they think that all of a sudden that history began when their rise began. Like that's it for them. There's no history before that. Juventus has had chance after chance after chance to become one of the greatest European clubs, to win the Champions League. They've had the chances since they got Ronaldo. They had the chances in the years before that, even with Allegri somehow, and they blew it. They've never been able to get over the line. They haven't been able to see it through.
And it goes to Jamie's question, Tim, and to you, Steve. Do you think Juventus will win a Champions League in the next few years? That window, guys, is what? Maybe another year? Am I wrong? I'm not a professional, but Tim, do you think they'll win? Will win? I know that we saw a graph there, Steve. I think you shared it that Juventus is the Italian club that's the most in debt right now, because if they don't win now, it doesn't look too good. But do you think that they're capable of doing it? Okay, guys, let's put it this way. Ronaldo, 2 years, let's say in the next 2 years, would you say? Are they capable of winning, Tim?
I think Cristiano Ronaldo has a better chance of winning MLS Cup in his career before he wins the Champions League at Juventus. I don't see it happening. He can stay there another 2 years. They may get to the semifinals. They may even make the final, but they're not good enough, and they will find a way to squander it. They won't win the Champions League with him, no doubt.
And we're gonna laugh all the way to the fucking bank. And I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Exactly.
Support the Italian teams. Steve knows my stance on this one, and I'm only gonna come back because in 2005 nobody came back and felt bad for us. They're all laughing at us.
Right,
Steve, can they win it in the next couple of years?
The thing with the debt, them being in debt for that, it doesn't count for Juve, right? Because they're like any humongous corporation. They're gonna get bailed out by the government. Their government is fiat. Fiat is a superpower in Italy, and the debt will magically, they'll get erased, or they'll get Jeep to sponsor them for the balance of the debt, and it'll be erased, right? So, let alone that. For them, they're always missing a piece. They thought that Cristiano Ronaldo was going to be this piece, and to be very honest with you, yes, he is a piece, because he brings that winning mentality that a lot of the players that have played on Juve during the years that they have lost have never gotten to
But it
that
does
level,
show,
right?
but it does show, Steve, Cristiano Ronaldo, his first year in Serie A, even the best in the world needed to fucking adapt. He didn't score as many as he had to score. And now you can see what kind of quality player it is, but is it too little too late? You're saying, I don't know if they would win, Steve.
The window's closing for sure, but if they add pieces, and Ronaldo understands his role and is someone who can distribute the ball, become a distributor as well as a goal scorer that he is, then I say yes. If he does not want to adapt that role of distributor, because you cannot keep Dybala on the bench. You have to be able to play Dybala, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Higuain together. Because the window is closing. Exactly that. You need those three guys who keep on scoring goals. But if the ball, there's only so many balls that can go around in a game, right? And so many scoring chances that could be divided by those three guys. And I think another portion of the of Juve that needs to be fixed if they want to win the Champions League is their midfield. We have rumors of Pjanic leaving. And exactly that. Talking about Pjanic, you have Pjanic who's spectacular on free kicks, and so is Dybala. But yet you continuously have Cristiano Ronaldo taking free kicks, and he's continuously hitting the wall. So if a player like Baggio, like Totti, and we can name, those are the ones that I'll name you, Pirlo and Serie A. And I'm not saying the free kicks. I'm saying people that were able to adapt their game. at what they were able to do at the age that they were at the skill set that they're at, and instead of using, using their brain instead of using their physical talent, it becomes more impactful for the team, right? And I'm gonna plug ESPN and Tim on this there, because he's laughing already. He knows where I'm going with this. The Last Dance was perfect with that, right? At the
What
end,
a fucking
Jordan
great
said
story.
that his last NBA championship was the one that was the most fulfilling, because he had to become more savvy. He had to use his brain more than his physical ability. So that's the mark of a champion. And to be very honest, with you, after the Last Dance, that I would never play cards with him. I would never play. I don't know. I would not even play like dice with him. I would not play anything with him. Not even rock paper scissors,
He just
because
sounded.
he would take my number down, and he would come and ring on my doorbell. Let's play one more game. Let's play one more game.
And you perfect segue, Tim. I don't know what you think about this, but when I was listening, I watched and fantastic. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say you were behind the Last Dance. Thank you, Tim, for giving us the Last Dance.
Sure.
But that line when he says, "If you don't want to play that way, right, just don't play." And the level that, and I kind of heard a bit of Ibrahimovic in there, and you've heard about these stories that you just want to win. Is that killer instinct? And we're going to stop talking about Juve, guys, because this is a Milan podcast. But in the end, that killer instinct, whether it be a Juventus, a Milan, it just seems that it's, Gattuso used to say, back in my day, you think if we had social media, we'd be fucking posting picture of each other after a loss or anything like that. Maybe it's some mentality that's gone. Or when it was time for Ronaldo to be that guy for Juventus, well, where were the rest of the fucking players? The guy brought you there to the dance, and it's like people shitting on Roberto Baggio for 94. Huh? If it wasn't for Baggio, we would have never been there at the finals of 94. I don't know what your take is on all of this.
No, I think that's completely fair, and I think Ibrahimovic is the perfect example of all that. That's a guy who, at his age, has found a way to still be competitive, even now when he's back in Serie A after 2 years in MLS, after his ACL injuries. He's finding ways to adapt. He's finding ways to help try to make that Milan team better. The problem is you need people to come along with you. When he was in MLS, he scored 50 something goals, and he was incredibly dominant over here. Obviously, he's a giant amongst just the weakest players imaginable, and it's unbelievable. I love MLS, but come on, he was always going to run circles around them. But he didn't have anyone around him that rallied around him and tried to help him get to where he wanted to be, and that was at the top of the league and winning a title. He had Christian Pavon come in for the last few months, but other than that, everyone let him down, and he did not hold back about that. And we've heard the stories now in the last few months about the things that he would say, the things that he would do, and that's because that's a man hell-bent on being the greatest wherever he goes and being a champion, even in these latter years of his career. I mean, it still amazes me that he never won a Champions League, but here he is, almost a decade of league titles wherever he went. And even as that's faded away, he's still determined to be the best at his craft, and he still is convinced that he is. And when you're convinced like that, you can pretty much you can will yourself to being the best that way.
Exactly, and we got a couple of more questions to go through. Guys are getting involved as well in the comments, but let's very, very quickly touch base today, guys. I don't want to comment too much on Ibra getting injured. Adriano saying Achilles. I read polpaccio. Tim, how's your Italian? Il polpaccio. Do you know what il polpaccio is?
I hang around my French family more than my Italian family.
Yeah,
but guys, what I read, Steve, correct me if I misread, but they're just gonna wait until tomorrow to do some sort of test, and they'll determine. It could be a 2-week thing, like it could be a 6-month thing. Have if you read anything differently, Steve?
Yeah, they don't know. This morning it was unknown what it was. I don't know how people got Achilles. Obviously, if it's your calf or your Achilles, you're going to be grabbing the same portion of your leg. Achilles will be terrible, to be very honest with you, because if it's the same leg as the knee, he's in trouble, right?
Let's just
Especially
wait.
today.
Let's just wait.
If
Tim,
it's the
did you?
but if it's the calf, it's just as bad, guys. It's just the
Yeah.
calf are the ones that linger the most, right? Especially these guys, they're built like racehorses, right? You take out one of their legs, we don't know the damage that it does, right? But
They're
I would
saying
wait for tomorrow.
Bleacher Report says Achilles. I've read on sports media set and on Milan News that IT for il polpaccio. I don't know, Tim. Have you read anything differently on your end? You know, you're at ESPN, so you got some inside scoop there.
No, I think the email that I saw come through with the link to our story said that originally said calf. I don't know if it's been updated since then, but yeah, I think everyone's kind of just trying to figure it out at this point.
Very good. Very quickly, we don't have to get into this, but one word answer. If Ronaldo would come to MLS one day, other than the LA Galaxy, where else would he go? Would he go anywhere else than LA? Gigi's asking there on the comments, but I don't see him going anywhere else than the LA Galaxy. How about
Maybe
you with him?
I think Miami.
Miami? Okay, yeah. He's
I
not
would
coming
think
to the
so.
Montreal Impact, that's for
No,
sure, Steve.
no. I I dream of Orlando though. I think if Nani stays around and he wants to hang out with his buddy again, maybe there's a 1% chance of that. But
Steve, other than the Galaxy, Miami, do you see him going anywhere else if he would ever come?
I call them the big three: New York, LA, and Florida.
Yeah.
He ain't coming in the cold of Montreal, so we'll leave it at that.
he doesn't want to play on the baseball diamond either, so that knocks
Yeah.
down the city.
Again, Gigi is asking us on Twitter, who from the current Italian strikers do you think can break Milan's cursed number 9? Okay, so current, and he's asking current Italian strikers. So let's fantasy book. We can get anybody. Steve, out of Italian strikers, Immobile,
Nobody.
Belotti, or is it because it's just a curse at Milan, number 9?
I don't think it's a curse. I think you could put anybody in there right now. I would be very surprised if they break that curse.
Gigi's answering his own question, saying Belotti. Tim, Belotti, Immobile. I know Belotti is a bit younger. Anybody else come to mind as an Italian striker that we'd be able to put into that number 9 position?
Not right now. I dreamed of Immobile to Milan for a long time, and like Steve just said, with the team as it is now, no one's coming in and breaking that curse.
I totally agree with that one there. Eggs and Pancakes says Gino Farino, a friend. The podcast landing on interesting dates. Today marks the memory of Istanbul. Same day Zlatan goes on with an apparent career. This season officially over. May 25. Not a good day for Milan fans. I think it wasn't a question. He was just trying to pour out his feelings from his heart. Thank you for that. And Massimo's asking, Chelsea don't want to buy Boga. We need to jump on him now before his price goes up. He signs for another Serie A team. Agree or disagree? Steve likes to talk about this, that as soon as we kind of talk about a player in social media, the Milan right away he triples price, right, Steve? We were supposed to get Haaland for what, 20 million at one point, and all of a sudden it's like, Boga. What do you think, Steve? Do you think we should make a move for this guy, or?
He has a Serie A experience. He's been playing with Sassuolo. I would give it a try, to be very honest, but it depends on the price tag. Guys,
you know what we need?
We need a plan. We need a project. If he doesn't fit in the plan and it doesn't fit in the project, we can go get whoever we want. And I know that the price is going to triple as soon as Milan's involved. Then magically Juve and Inter are involved. That's just how it goes. Said they're always going to be in that same thing. But it's the same thing like Tonali. Do you have the team done enough research on Boga to say, hey, there's going to be a reason why Chelsea's not signing him, right? And it could be a mistake, and it could be
Bakayoko, the same thing, right, Steve?
Bakayoko, the same thing. But Chelsea is stacked with talent in terms of what they do bring back, and they've made mistakes, right? The Mo Salah, the Lukaku, the Kevin De Bruyne. These are all guys that passed through Chelsea and have gone on to other teams in the EPL and outside the EPL, and have caused serious damage and have come back to cause even more serious damage. So even a team like Chelsea, where they have the complete opposite of us. And the complete opposite is they have so much talent to choose from that you're kind of flipping a coin at a certain point. You're getting to two players, and sometimes you're going to land on the side of the coin that says to sell a Kevin De Bruyne or a Roman Lukaku or a Mo Salah.
What about Tim? I don't know if you're very familiar with Boga. Do you have like a price tag in your mind? Because it just seems that whenever Milan's interested in a player, we need to pay exorbitant amounts of money. And we've never, yes, we can talk about Tio. Wow, like, if ever we have to sell it one day, it's going to be pure profit. Cutrone was pure profit because it was a homegrown. But what do you think about this whole Boga thing, or even Bakayoko for that matter?
So, as I mentioned earlier, I used to put together a video of all the goals from the weekend in Serie A. And I was always excited when I got to Sassuolo games for two reasons. At home games, their goal song is Tub Thumpin' by Chumbawamba, and I always just really enjoyed that. And two, because Borga is fun to watch. And he's had some spectacular goals this year, some incredible solo efforts, great foot skill. And he's that kind of player that gets you excited. And Milan fans, we've become susceptible to being very excited about young players, as you guys said, and then doesn't necessarily pan out. The price tag, I can imagine, would get pretty high. I think I saw today that Napoli would be interested if he's not going to go back to Chelsea, so that could end up being a bidding war, and they might be better positioned than Milan right now to make that move. But, like you said, with any of these guys, whether it's Borga, Tonali, I've been a big Riccardo Orsolini fan for a while, you can bring that one player in. It could be your big signing, but then, who's around him to help make that team better. Bakayoko would, at this point, would be welcome. I feel like, he's someone who worked out or was fairly okay toward the end. And I think
after 7-8 games that we gave him a chance because we had no choice, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to segue into that one there. But Bakayoko, on the only thing is what I believe might help us in our, because he's got to lower salaries if we had to take him back. Right. Maybe sell Kessie, but for him reaching out to Milan might be a good sign, Speaking of all these signings, Simon wanted to know, despite the lockdown and the injury supposedly today, was the 3.5 million for Ibra a waste? Steve?
No.
I personally don't think so. I think it just whatever he brought as a energy to the locker room. Yes, we didn't win every single game. Steve, I don't know if you share the same feelings.
The 3.5 million was the cost of doing business for Elliott and Gazidis and everybody, where they had to understand that Serie A is a different animal than whatever league that they've been in the past. And I'm talking about Gazidis in the English Premier League, where you need to isolate young youth with crafty veterans, and you need to have a mentality to win. It cost them 3.5 million. But I'm pretty sure that they're not going to, I hope, they're not going to make the same mistake again.
We did like Juventus. We made that all money back just with shirts, correct?
Yeah,
Steve?
Of course.
Tim, was it wasted 3.5?
No, and the energy wasn't just for the locker room, it was for the fan base as well. That first game where he came back and he took the pitch, it was a reminder of what this club could be, to have a big player in there like Ibrahimovic. He did such amazing things for the club. And it'd been so long since we'd had something special like that to cling on to. And so just to see him out there and to see him still at 38 and after 2 years away from Europe, still out there working as hard as he could, that was just such a refreshing thing to see, to have him there. And you know what he's like in the locker room. You know what he's going to be doing with those young players, some of those mid-20s guys who haven't panned out. He's going to be in their faces like, I didn't come back here just to finish 5th or 6th. I came here to get back into the Champions League. I came here to compete. And he's going to bring that kind of energy we know and love from Gattuso that's been severely lacking.
I totally agree. So no, to your question, definitely not wasted. Yeah. I like Miguel's question. I know people have not been talking about a lot, but saying Bilia commented about Milan, saying the team hasn't won much in recent years, and Milan will not return to European glory until they have stability. What are your thoughts on Bilia speaking out on this? Bilia only played Champions League with Anderlecht, by the way. I'm going to let Steve answer this one first because I know he loves Lucas Sabilia that we paid $15 million. But I know he had, one good game for 5 bad games, Steve, but is it just bitterness that he knows he's not coming back? Why would he say something like this? I don't know. Is he right? Is he
In
right?
theory, let's face it, guys. We're gonna have to get to the honest truth. There, he's actually right.
Yeah.
We've been saying it. If we're here on Milan, maybe he's listening to the podcast because it's only about 2 to 3 years that we've been actually saying that we need some kind of stability at ownership, at management, and at the management level in terms of the coach of the team and a plan. So he's not wrong. He's gonna go to Argentinian papers to look. He's not coming back, right? So is he bitter? I'm pretty sure he's a bit bitter because he probably signed on here from Lazio to have some stability and to take that next step. That didn't pan out. He was a big problem of that too. They invested 20 some odd million on him and it didn't work out. But that's not his fault that we invested 20 million on him,
No,
right? That's on us, right? So
Lazio laughed all the way to the bank, Lotito and company.
exactly. So they replaced him with Lucas from Liverpool, and it's like they never missed a beat, right? So they took that money and invested it better than we did. And in the end, that's what it comes down to, right? Milan traditionally in the past, we were able to band-aid solution a lot of our problems.
Would you consider, Steve, that uh, Belia was the Philippe Mexes signing of his time that we signed? Like, I know we got him for free, but the big salary, and we thought it was going to be something big. Tim, how about you? What did you think about all these comments of Belia? And is he the modern day Mexes with that high salary? And I know we got him for cheap, but what are your thoughts?
I think it's hard to compete with Mexes on that front, to be honest. But I think everything Steve just said is right too. We have to accept the honest truth sometimes, and the honest truth is that this has not been a competitive club for a long time. We've gone so many years without European football, and in that time, we've had multiple owners, we've had multiple executives, we've gone through managers like each one is going out of style pretty soon, and there's no stability right now. It's not good for the club, and you can't really get back to where they were until there is said stability. And, who knows when that's going to be. And in terms of Belia, we can certainly knock the value for him, but I think going back to my friend Hercules Gomez always says, you're worth what someone's willing to pay for you. And Milan were willing to pay that much for him because they were desperate and they thought, they went through a lot of money trying to right this ship, and they were throwing money around left and right, and very few times it worked, if any.
Yeah, 100%. Last one. I know Adriano, that piece of bread, he's still in the comments. He's asking questions that we already answered. What are our favorite on the anniversary of Milan winning the 4th and 7th Champions League? What are your most memorable Milan Champions League moments? Steve, we always talk about 2003, but I'm going to put something as a moment. Steve, that game against Barcelona where we were shaking and Pato, within the first minute of the game, just burns through a defense and scores a goal. I can take that as a Champions League moment because we're like, what the fuck just happened, right? Seeing Pato burn. I don't know. Can you think of any moment particular, Steve, other than the ones we've mentioned in the past?
If we go to recent, that Allegri team that beat Barcelona was, I don't even know how we did that.
No,
like Boateng and Montari scoring, and it's like, what's going on over here? How did then they blamed it traditionally, as Barcelona always does. It was because of the San Siro pitch. It was too
the pitch. The pitch was no good. Yeah, I remember the pitch. Tim, any particular moments? We've never asked you, but your favorite Champions League moment in Milan history? Anything comes to mind?
Ooh, for me, one of my all-time favorite goals is actually from the 07 semifinal against Man United at Old Trafford, the Kaká goal, where he headed it in between the two defenders, rounded them, and then he's one-on-one with Van der Sar and just slots it home, and then we head to Athens and win the title. I actually, for the final that year, I had to quit my high school tennis team in order to watch the final. It was in the middle of the week. I was
good for you.
Good for you.
I was junior varsity, so it didn't matter. I wasn't going to be playing that day, and it was when the final was still on a Wednesday, and the coach was like, well, if you're not here, you're going to have to quit. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to quit, and I'm going to go watch this final. And that worked out.
I gave up sex for the 2003 World Cup, Champions League final, so don't worry about it. We hear you. Steve, do you agree? That's a great moment. And I like Faz, what he said, the Kumbarachicha from New York. That was a good one. Pato at the Bernabeu with the 3-2 goal in the last 5 minutes. Where remember Pirlo's goal, guys, where he scored from an impossible angle, and everybody's what the hell was going on from whatever. Great moment as well. But before we close this off, we've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. We're talking about Pirlo. Steve knows how I feel about Pirlo. Let's take Giorgio Chiellini in the same wavelength. Now. For me, my whole thoughts about Pirlo, I'll always appreciate what he gave for Milan, the player. But when the book came out, to me, it was just like, non sei da Milan, because what you said and what you did. And trashing on your old, would it be Milan and players? You wanted to sell books, that's fine. Steve, Chiellini, è roba da Juve, talking shit about his old... Is he trying to sell books? Because he's coming off like shit right now. Am I... like, we've heard about Balotelli. I know that they had that little Instagram live and everything's okay now. Felipe Melo. Arturo Vidal, that he's a drunk. And, like, is he roba da Juve? Are they still going to respect him?
Of course he's roba da Juve, because he's the pure example of someone who's faceless. He will basically trash only players that are not on Juve anymore. So why doesn't he talk about the Champions League final against Real Madrid when magically Bonucci didn't know how to play defense anymore? How come he's not going to talk about that?
You went to Milan.
Yeah.
Mica Real Madrid.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Whatever. But he's not going to talk about that in his book. So his book is basically a bunch of fluff. Just a couple of pages of fluff that he's going to sell because he's from Juve, and they're going to give it out. You're going to buy a Fiat, or you're going to buy a Jeep, and it's probably going to be in the glove compartment as a gift for you. That's where he's going to make his sales. But when you're writing a book and a memoir, I'm looking for those things. I'm looking for the I want to see the problems that he had, but I want the truth, not fluffy stuff.
Don't give me the truth, but don't mention fucking names. If you're a true teammate, you don't talk about that shit. That's the way I see it. Now, Michael Jordan, 20 years after the fact, could do whatever the fuck he wants because he's the greatest in the fucking world. But Giorgio Chiellini, that fucking schnauzer that he is, and to me, I'm going to put him in the same category as Pirlo, because you don't shit on guys like that, right? Just to sell books. That's my opinion. It might be wrong. Tim, what do you think of Il Naso Chiellini?
Well, first, it's hard to be faceless with a nose that big, so I don't know. But it is, I'm always one for a villain in the sport. I think that's something that's lacking over here. There's not enough villains. There's not enough people stirring the pot. But, especially when you're an active player like that and you're still, like, you're throwing your old teammates under the bus and stuff like that. You're supposed to be a leader in that club. Like, what does that say about you? What does it say about the club?
Let's just put it this way. What if Arturo Vidal had a problem? Let's just say he had a drinking problem. We all have our demons, guys, and I'm not here to judge anybody, but I can talk, you can say about Felipe Melo, this and that. And he replied back, Felipe Melo, and to me, I don't know if you guys read, he wasn't trashing Chiellini. He was just saying, like, some things should be just left. He says he never disrespected or anything like that. But I just found that I get selling books. But if you're a true, like, I was just trying to picture, Steve, would Del Piero say something like that about his teammates? I don't know. To me, it's just like, make that money, do whatever you want. And for me, he's in the same category as Pirlo. He's not a roba da Juventus because he trashed on his own fucking players. That's the way I look at it. I don't know if you had anything to add, Tim.
I just don't know why he's writing a book now.
Thank you. You just said he's an active player, Tim, right? What's the point of It's like Mauro Icardi, his life story. What was he? 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I love Zanetti when he was just like, well, what are you doing? Like, just what are you doing from over there? But anyways, I don't know how your feelings are about I don't think I'm going to be reading that book anytime soon. But look, guys, we are an hour and 15 minutes in. I've asked this question in the past I had a debate a couple of weeks ago with some of the Milan followers, and you're here, and it's a perfect question. Tim, ESPN's The Last Dance. Fantastic. Loved every minute of it. Making people watch it that don't know basketball very interested. I don't know Steve, I've sent him the videos, but I don't think he's watching. The Undertaker Last Ride, same kind of principle, seeing all this type of stuff. If you had an opportunity to do a episodic Last Dance on any player or ex or slash Milan moments and really go in depth, what moment or player would you take a moment in time that you could bring to light, something that we always wanted to know about? Can you think of anything? A Last Dance with Milan connected.
Ooh, that's a really good question. And first, if it's okay with you guys, I am going to move while I'm talking because I have.
We'll let Steve answer this one. You move, Steve. We know we talked about it. Who would you pick for a Last Dance, like a 10-part, like in-depth series of something that happened at Milan? Would you go with the Young Hong Lee situation with Berlusconi at that time? Would you go for the fifth? I would probably go the 58 games unbeaten streak to follow the team throughout, those invincible years, as we call them. I don't know. Do you think of any kind of moment for you, Steve, that you would like to see a documentary made?
I would like to see it on Berlusconi. I would like to see it. I want to know more about when he purchased Milan and he saved them from Serie B, and what he did to get Milan to the glory years that we were so lucky to go through.
I know we're getting Inzaghi 2007 from Jamie, Gigi Lepatat saying Kaká, Stefano Gattuso saying Adida. Adida went through a couple of problems himself, but I don't know if he would be able to get 10-part series. Tim, anything come to mind? I like Steve's. I like the Steve Berlusconi to, but would he say the truth, Berlusconi, in those documentaries? Yeah. But Tim, anything that comes to mind?
For me, it's the opposite end of the Berlusconi years. It's the end when things started to fall apart. Following the 07 champions, like I felt like nothing was ever the same. And you could just see like the cracks starting to form with Maldini's retirement and Ancelotti leaving and Kaká leaving. And then the sale to Young Hong Lee. I want to know what was going on there. Just like this whole period that we're in now is so fascinating to me. Just like what the heck went wrong. I want an inside look at that sale. I want to know more about that famous Mr. X series.
Oh my God, Mr. X.
Yeah. Who really was Mr. X? Like, what was going on with
Hamsick?
Yeah.
No, those Berlusconi, the Young Hong Lee, dude, that's a fantastic one. But can you make it happen? Tim, you're over there. Email a couple of people. Call Silvio. By the way, you can contact Marcello. He's got Silvio's personal phone number. We go. David Gorasho saying Maldini from until retirement from 16. Maldini would be a great one. He has a great documentary in Italian. Adriano saying Gattuso. Frank from Facebook. Frank saying Milan for the month of May in 2003. That's a fantastic one as well. Like their whole. But can we agree? Can we agree that we have a lot of material that we will be able to do a Last Dance style kind of documentary, especially with the history of Milan?
Yeah, and I think that you can get a lot of people who were involved on the record. Whether, like you said, some of them will spin the truth is another matter, but I think there are going to be some people who are willing to talk. So I think that would be something very interesting. I'd be very interested to hear from someone like Boban after the last couple of years and see what he had to say. So, I mean, there's so many options. So I'll try to run it up the ladder and see where we get.
Jamie is saying Van Basten, even Steve Van Basten's last year, what he had to go through with the injuries and how he had to retire after that short period of time. But I think we're all in agreement that Milan has enough history that we can make multiple Last Dance kind of documentaries. So Tim, we're expecting you to email the president of ESPN, and we're not going to take no for an answer. Steve, you agree?
I agree. If you want me to mispronounce everybody's names, I would be glad. I would do it for free to be on that.
Steve and Vinny narrating the Last Dance. Stevie P fucking everybody's last names. That will be our thing from over there. And me in the background just drinking scotch, smoking a cigarette, and we can talk from over there, and we'll have a one-on-one with the Berlusconi. Guys, this has been great. Fantastic little conversation we've been having. Steve, any closing words? Any comments? It's been great with Tim. We're expecting that Steve and I are going to be on ESPN Live. Steve, he's with us. There's at least 1.7 million people watching us. So, Steve, we should be on ESPN, should we not?
You should reciprocate the invitation, Tim. I'll make myself available. I'm gonna check my calendar.
We'll gel the hair a bit nicely. It is ESPN.
Hey, I live near Matteo Benetti, so I'll see what I can do. I'll talk to him.
We've reached out to him a couple of times. It's like I'm trying to get. I don't know if I could do it, this and that. But hey, we'll gladly have a nice discussion from over there. But what a great conversation, Tim. Before we let you go, I'm gonna ask you to plug yourself once again. Where can people see, like, if we want to watch something on ESPN that correlates to your work, other than the YouTube series? I know there's with Oguchi Onyewu on YouTube. Anything else that we can see to appreciate your work that you're doing behind the scenes there at ESPN?
So a lot of the work that I am involved in myself, I like to tweet it from my Twitter account. Tim_Fontenot is where you can find me. The ESPN FC YouTube channel, the ESPN UK YouTube channel, ESPN.com. Go to the soccer section. That's where you'll find all the stuff that I'm working on. Particularly the show Banter with Taylor Twellman that I mentioned earlier. It's on. It usually goes on Wednesdays, where we've been getting a lot of great guests and having a lot of great conversations about American soccer, the U.S. men and women. So there's a lot of places that our work can be found, and we're nonstop.
Awesome, Steve. You know what I just realized? I forgot to do the different camera angles. President,
you're in trouble.
Off, huh?
You're in trouble.
Shit. The last podcast, he was like, Vinjen, your voice, it's kind of has an echo. Did you move? I realized that you moved the microphone. Can you please make sure? I'm like, what the fuck did I do now this time? Presidente will never be happy. And it's okay. He keeps us on our tiptoes from over there. Tim, I just want to say thank you so very much for taking the time, for talking to us. We're expecting an email back from ESPN about the last dance on Milan. Steve and I, but you can take your time. We could do it in 6 months from now. We'll work for free, Steve. We'll work for free.
Have your people call my people.
We'll take catering. Steve, are you okay? Maybe ESPN can
as long as you can feed me, we're good. That might be an expensive bill.
There you go.
Tim, thank you so very much. Stay safe. Have yourself a good night. And we're going to be posting this on all platforms soon. And it's been a great hour talk with you. Hope you have yourself a fantastic night. And we'll talk soon, buddy.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. Hope to do it again sometime. And hope you guys are staying healthy and safe, and all your families are doing well through this tough time.
Thanks,
Same
Tim.
to you, buddy. And buonasera. And en français, s'il vous plaît, Monsieur Fontenot. Merci beaucoup. Have a good night, buddy.
Take care, guys.
Ciao. Steve, how much trouble am I in that I didn't do this? Like, I didn't change the he's going to yell at me, right?
Big trouble.
He's probably gonna yell at me. Yeah. So, Steve, what a fantastic guest. To see the what they do in the backstage at ESPN, how his job changed from all this stuff. And you guys take a look. I know I posted it on our WhatsApp group, that little interview with Gucci Onyewu. It's fun stuff, and I wish I had this kind of job that he can do something that he loves, right?
Yeah.
A fellow Milanista. But we are expecting an email from ESPN presidents to offer us an internship, correct?
This is a no-brainer. We're going to be on.
We're going to be on? Because if not, we're just going to have to call somebody and go knock on his door and be like, hey, if you know what's good for you. Guys, social distancing slapping coming by President. Adrian, he's going to call me tonight. He's going to say, Vinje, the microphone was good this time, but you didn't do a lot of the, but you think he's gonna notice the ticker, Steve? He's probably not gonna notice the ticker.
No, he's gonna notice it.
He's gonna notice it.
He's gonna get mad at you because you didn't put a capital L on live.
By the way, guys, if you didn't catch Stevie P talking to John Solano from Roma Press, what a great conversation I enjoyed listening to it. Too short. I know the guy was doing work. I think we're going to do something soon. But
Yeah.
the correlations between Roma and Milan and the ownership, really enjoyed your conversation. If you have any takeaways from that.
We're in the same boat, man. A lot of the things that Milan has gone through, Roma is going through now, and it's interesting. Like a lot of the stadium trouble, ownership trouble, just terrible luck in the market, not taking advantage of a window when you're supposed to. Too many similarities between the two clubs.
Any indigestions for the week, Steve?
I just want to understand how they cannot get on the same page to decide if they want to open up soccer or not. Every other
Everybody's
league,
done it.
exactly. Everybody's done it, and they were able to get on the same page. And who wants a playoff? Who doesn't like a playoff? Who wants this? Who wants that? Ah, come on.
Who was it today that said, "Oh my God, playing at 4:30 in the afternoon in summer, it's unhuman."
Too
I'm
hot.
like,
It's too hot.
but didn't they play in fucking South Africa when it was 40 degrees and it just took a break? Anyways, to me, it was just like, dude, we're not gonna put your lives at risks. But if Joe Schmo here is gonna go back to work and deal with today, I probably spoke to 200 people and some people not respecting the social distance, whatever. Like you can go play a soccer game and be in the safest condition possible. Do you agree, Steve?
Yes.
Any good feel good moments for this week? Seeing the team back on track at training. I don't know if that like, kind of a sign to see these kind of teams go back. Anything that made you feel good?
You know what? From the first week, I wasn't too crazy about the no fans there, but I have to admit that yesterday I sat down and I watched some Bundesliga, looking at the guys play soccer, and now they're pumping in the crowd noise, which is a little bit interesting. Uh, I like it. I liked it.
In the end, I think Steve, you know what it is it's getting used to it. It's just like I love wrestling, but it's been these no fans in the stands, and it's been horrible. Don't get me wrong, I've missed a lot, but they had a pay-per-view this weekend, AEW, and it was okay, but they kind of try to make it work with no fans. But is it just because we're getting used to this whole like new standard with no fans? We're not getting full 60, 70,000 stadiums anytime soon. Am I wrong?
No.
So in the end, let's take it. Let's take it as it comes, and we'll go from over there. Let's wait until Libra's news for tomorrow. See what they say from over there. Any closing words for you, Steve? Do we let our faithful, whether it be David? David, don't tell me what happened on Raw. I'm recording it. Okay, don't tell me nothing. To David, to Jamie, to Adriano, to Faz, to Larry. Larry's always there. Always comes in. Good old Larry. Liban Youssef, always one of the first ones. He follows us. I love it. I mentioned Jamie, Facebook Frank, Sabrina, brother Milan, David Fante, right? And Angie, by the way, she reached out to us on Instagram yesterday. Angie, I still don't know how to fucking work Instagram. I'm sorry you sent us that message like 2.5 weeks ago. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but she had a good point, and I'm going to keep it between me and her. And in the end, Steve, I told her it's Presidente's fault. Whatever it is, when in doubt, blame President. Stefano, thank you very much. Stefano's still trying to get us to a million viewers. Gigi La Patat. Guys, we really appreciate it. Whether you guys are 20, whether you guys are 40, whether you guys are 1,000, we really appreciate you guys taking the time. Frank, I think I might be finishing her work early tomorrow. You could give me a call. We could talk AEW. AEW is Jericho. All you want. And Stevie P, keep that beautiful hair of yours. I love the wave, dude. I fucking love the wave. And sorry, yesterday I'm gonna try to make it up to you. I'm gonna try to make a nice walk because yesterday I did my DDP yoga. I got back into it. I was ruined, and I'm like, I'm not taking a walk anymore because I couldn't take it anymore because I'm broken. I'm not very flexible, and we gotta lose this quarantine belly. What do you want to do? Sounds good to you?
Very good.
Ovunque e sempre, guys. Forza Milan, and we shall see you next week, or maybe
In the week.
We never know when you have these surprises. Am I wrong, Steve?
Never know.
Ovunque sempre.
Forza Milan.
Ciao.